Hey world, what up? So we all know the breaking news with Giannis Antetokounmpo when it comes to free agency, when it comes to the overall stakes of him with the Milwaukee Bucks. So breaking news, Giannis Antetokounmpo has elected to re-sign with the Milwaukee Bucks and pretty much extend 5 years for a supermax contract, biggest in team history, let alone biggest contract in NBA history. So first off, kudos to Giannis. He made his decision. He's a grown man. He knows what he needs to do. So kudos to him. Now, ever since he made a decision now, we really got to see now the landscape of the NBA, free agency, let alone for these other teams and franchises. So overall, we pretty much expected Giannis to bypass with the contract extension, test the waters in free agency, and evaluate teams and franchises such as the Dallas Mavericks, the Golden State Warriors, the Miami Heat, maybe the Philadelphia 76ers, some of these other franchises as well. That was not the case. Giannis did not join a LeBron James, a Kevin Durant type era to where he would have left his franchise and gone to a bigger market, let alone form a quote-unquote super team or teamed up with different players. So there's always in talks about the Miami Heat were usually number one on the list, if anything. The Dallas Mavericks at number two. Then everything else was kind of up in the air. So if you're Miami, you really got to reevaluate and replan because you made a bunch of one-year deals to where you can go for him in free agency. So maybe the Miami Heat pivot and they look towards James Harden. If not that, maybe they just keep their young direction. The Dallas Mavericks, they pretty much are going to keep a dynamic duo of Luka and KP anyway, so I don't see anything much different with them. The Golden State Warriors, ever since Klay Thompson went out with that major injury, I doubt that they were going to be in the running anymore, so nothing too much on them. They still got Steph, Klay, and Dre in the future for 2022 and beyond, so it is what it is on that. So Giannis Antetokounmpo, he decided to stay 5 years with the Milwaukee Bucks, and within this, he's going to continue his team with Drew Holiday, Chris Middleton, Mike Budenholzer, and the crew. So we're going to jump in here on Speak for Yourself on FS1 and give my take more on this.
The Greek Freak announced the news on Twitter saying, "This is my home. This is my city. I'm blessed to be able to be a part of the Milwaukee Bucks for the next 5 years. Let's make these years count." The show goes on. Let's get it.
Wait.
What is he?
Was that your Greek Freak, Nigerian Greek accent?
It was a try. Can you do it, idiot? Can you do better? Can you introduce Slick? All right, let's introduce my dog, Fox NBA analyst. Stop interrupting me. Slick Rick the Bucher. Slick Rick. Will Giannis regret staying in Milwaukee?
Will Giannis regret staying in Milwaukee? I say no when it comes down to that. Usually, number one, if he would have left the Milwaukee Bucks, I would have said would have been the Miami Heat. If he joined the Miami Heat, I would have expected at least one championship or two at most. I think if he would have gone to Miami, most likely just one championship. He would have won with Jimmy Butler and the crew when it came down to it. Miami's a nice situation, but I don't see him staying there for 4 years and beyond. I think he would have been there for around 4 years, and that would have been it. Kind of like, how Kevin Durant was on the Warriors for 3 years, LeBron with the Heat for 4, vice versa, et cetera, et cetera. So Giannis right now, he is 26 years of age. He's good where he's at. He's in Milwaukee. He's with a franchise that adores him, that pretty much management will make moves for him. And he's in a comfortable state of mind. He is a competitive player. We've seen that throughout the offseason during the summer. He doesn't go out here and he doesn't go train with other players like if it's AAU. He's not about that. He's about a quote-unquote mama mentality to where he'll stay isolated, work on his game, work on his craft, and pretty much be different from this AAU culture in the NBA. That's why he is divergent. Giannis Antetokounmpo, it didn't shock me. I expected him to stay with the Milwaukee Bucks, but I thought he would have tested free agency first and test the waters. That's usually how it goes, but seems like he was all settled. Everything was good enough, so shocking to me that he didn't attend free agency, but everything on that.
Acho, I'm glad you got to questioning that dialect first, whatever that impersonation was. I'm glad you got to it.
Oh, man.
Yes. No, he's not going to regret it. Yeah. It's the smartest move that he could have possibly made.
Bingo. And real quickly, again, there was top two franchises in this free agency class he could have joined, the Mavericks or the Heat. If he went to the Mavericks, they would have been a dynasty. They would have won championships. And Luka would have been the main guy for their franchise to be if that would have happened. Now, for Giannis, he stated in a quote, he doesn't mind being a second or third option, but it has to be in Milwaukee. It has to be in his hometown. And for Giannis to go leave his franchise and possibly to where his jersey will get burned, people are going to ridicule and hate on him. He's not about that. He's seen what happened with LeBron James when he did that after leaving Cleveland. He saw the effects of Kevin Durant joining the Warriors in Golden State. He saw how the backlash went on there. And he's not about that. That's not in his DNA. Now, if he would have left and joined the Miami Heat, that would have been a little different. People in Milwaukee and the fans, they would have not burned his jersey. I don't expect that at all. And that would have not been a super team if he went to the Miami Heat. It would have been a dynamic duo of him and Jimmy Butler and a young core, let alone a culture of championship experience with Miami and Pat Riley. So Giannis right now, only looking at those two franchises, it's intriguing. They were nice, but it wasn't a huge demand for him to go there. There wasn't a clear-cut favorite. Miami pretty much was the top, but if he were to leave, but it's not a clear-cut demand for him to go. He's still 26 years of age. He has 2 MVPs, and right now he's got around 3 to 4 seasons to where he can still win a championship. He's good where he's at.
There is not one place that he could have gone that would assure him of winning a championship more than he has a chance at winning a championship in Milwaukee without being viewed as a carpetbagger. And yes, the impersonation aside, those are the things that Giannis has been saying for the last couple of years. And for him to turn his back on Milwaukee and go someplace else or not sign the extension would have killed the authenticity that he has. I look at what he has in Milwaukee. He has everything that he needs. State-of-the-art arena, check. Aggressive GM, check.
Can't believe that Daniel deal you got me on my insurance.
Daniel, State Farm offers surprisingly great rates to everyone.
Sure you do. You want to meet the queen?
I'm not dressed for that. When you want the real deal, like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
Quality coach, check. Owner that's willing to open up, has deep pockets and is willing to dig into them, check. And has won every individual award imaginable and has a team that has been a perennial title contender for the last few years. So,
and real quickly, not to interrupt him too quick, but Giannis blossomed very late in his career. Around his 4th season, that's when we noticed he was getting more muscle. He was becoming an all-star player, and that he could possibly not take over the league, but be around the top 5, top 10 player in the league, as we kind of noticed. So pretty much what I'm saying is, pretty much his 4th or 5th season, we saw that progression. And then around his 6th and 7th season, I think maybe it was his 5th or 6th season, in that range, that's when he became a contender. That's whenever he was number 1 in the Eastern Conference. That's when he won his first MVP. And basically what I'm saying is whenever that came through in 2019, when he was that top guy, top 3 in the league, top 5 player, an MVP player, he had 2 years left of his contract. So this pretty much puts Giannis in a weird situation. So for example, for LeBron James, he was always one of the best players in the world. He was a star already. And we knew he had 7 seasons with the Cavaliers before his contract. He could be an unrestricted free agent. Same thing with Kevin Durant. But for Giannis, we only saw him as that true star player like KD and LeBron in the past whenever Giannis had 3 years left of his contract done with. So this put Giannis in a weird situation. He was not going to rush to leave the Milwaukee Bucks. So let's just say, for example, if Giannis was a top 1 player in the 2013 draft, and he was a top 10 player for his first season in 2013, and then coming from right now, yeah, he may have left the Milwaukee Bucks, but it's still too early as him being a true star for this premature time period. And even though that's a little bit in the factor, he doesn't have enough experience as a star player. So we're going to see 3-4 seasons from now, if he doesn't win a championship, then he can be around 30 years of age and he can bounce. Not going to say that's going to happen, but A lot of these players, when they're young, they say they're going to stay with their franchise. They're not going to leave. And then whenever they hit around 28, 29 to 30, and they never won a championship, let alone they haven't gone too deep in the playoffs, that's when they usually change their mind. They start to put down their ego, and then they'll look to go elsewhere.
I don't know how you say the grass isn't always greener in Greek. In Nigerian, the official language is English, so I'm guessing that Giannis has heard that phrase before. But clearly he learned that that is the case and made the right move.
Oh, Slick. Let me talk to you, Slick. I'm going to take you beneath the surface. Giannis will regret this, but Giannis is a person that's had to live in inner turmoil, had to live in turning his back on things, on people, on countries. Everybody calls Giannis the Greek freak. We know Giannis is Giannis Antetokounmpo. But Giannis is really born in Nigeria. His actual birth name, Giannis Ugo Adetokounmpo. He goes to Greece. They change his name on his passport. Now he realizes, although they call him the Greek freak, he just came out with the Nigerian shoe line. Dude just came out with some Nigerian apparel because he's like, the world's called me Greek. I don't want to turn my back on my Nigerian people. So it's the same thing, Slick. It's the same thing, Marcellus. Giannis is like, man, I don't want to turn my back on the Milwaukee Bucks. Now, I understand I probably should, selfishly. Let's think about it historically. Consecutive regular seasons with the outright best record.
It's premature for him to leave the Milwaukee Bucks. Again, he's only been a true star player in this league for around 2 to 3 seasons. That's not enough time for him to pretty much go ahead and leave Milwaukee. It's too early.
But 0 finest appearances. We got the Bucks last year, the year before. We got the Cavaliers, 08, 09, 29, 2010. What did LeBron James do? He left Cleveland because he realized, you know what? I have to do what's best for me and mine. I understand loyalty. I understand that's big in this day and age, but I also have to be loyal to my career advancements. But why did LeBron do that? It wasn't just LeBron and the gravitas around the decision. Kevin Durant, who left the T-Wolves and went to the Celtics. What did KG tell Bron? He said, hey, loyalty is something that hurts you at times because you can't get your youth back, close quote. KG had to make a move, went to Boston, won some chips. KG knocked out LeBron. Bron had to make a move, went to Miami, won some chips. Giannis Ugo Adetokounmpo. Giannis has to realize, hey, big bro, I understand loyalty, but you got to follow those who left to go get some chips.
And real quick, again, if Giannis would have left to a different franchise, he would have finished his career with around 2 rings. And those 2 rings, they're still going to be valuable, but people are still going to throw out, he had to leave, he had to go this way. It is what it is. But basically, Giannis understands if he stays with the Milwaukee Bucks for the next 7 to 8 seasons, he can win at least 1 championship. He can pull out the Dirk Nowitzki phase of things, and that 1 championship is going to be valuable as ever. So I don't fault Giannis Antetokounmpo for not leaving. I've always stated, if he would have left and joined the Miami Heat and finished his career, he probably would have had 1 to 2 championships. Nothing too crazy. If he joined the Mavericks, probably 2 to 3, if anything. But you would have had Luka as the main guy. Giannis staying with Milwaukee, that pretty much puts him in a position to where he has to grow to try to be that alpha and number 1 guy. And we've seen the last 2 playoff series against the Raptors in 2019 in the conference finals, let alone with the Miami Heat in the second round. He can't be that guy to take you to the finals, let alone win a championship. Now, as of right now, let's see if he's worked on his jump shot, because basically there's 2 things. He needs to work on his jumper, and he needs to work on a go-to move. That's basically it for Giannis Antetokounmpo to take his team to the finals and take that next step. He does have an alpha mentality, but going deep in the playoffs, it doesn't really translate as much because you go deeper, there's more pressure on you, and you need to execute and make it go across. I'm not saying that Giannis can't grow. I'm not saying that Giannis can't make it to that level. I'm very curious to see in the next season or 2 if he takes that leap. He is 26 years of age. This is where he needs to pick it up. And he needs that mentor player alongside with him. So bringing in Jrue Holiday, I'm not going to say that Jrue Holiday is going to have that big impact to where it'll make Giannis go that next level, like with LeBron with the Dwayne Wade type role. But we'll take it step by step upon it. If that Jrue Holiday experiment doesn't work out as we expected, you're really going to have to look out to possibly make a trade for James Harden or a player that can be a number one guy over Giannis, or a 1A, 1B, if anything. If anything. That's why I was shocked that they didn't bring Chris Paul in. They didn't even try to engage in those trade talks as much. Because if you had Chris Paul on your team, he would have gotten the best out of Giannis. Giannis could have been that number one guy. But as of right now, you're kind of leaning towards, who do you lean towards to? Mike Budenholzer, Chris Middleton? They were there for 2 seasons. Not much adjustments. So there's going to be a lot on the back of Drew Holiday. I don't know if he realizes this or not. He probably does, but a lot of responsibility on his part. Not only to mentor, but to make plays at the end of the game.
You got right with the K, but you put the wrong next initial. We shouldn't be talking about KG because he was traded from Minnesota to Boston, and it was something that ultimately he was reluctant to do. The guy that we should be talking about in this comparison is KD, or maybe Kyrie, or maybe even LeBron James. And this is, Acho, where I'm...
Well, real quick, after 2016 with Kevin Durant, that was the end of any opportunity that the Oklahoma City Thunder could have won a championship. And let me backtrack. Most likely it was in 2014. That was pretty much their last chance. 2016, you had the Warriors in the picture. Even if the Thunder did beat the Warriors, they were not going to beat the Cleveland Cavaliers in the finals. No way, no how that was not going to happen. That's why whenever the Thunder lost in the conference finals against the Golden State Warriors, knowing going into the 2017 season, Kevin Durant knew even if he rejoined the Thunder, they would have not gotten past the Warriors, let alone the Cavaliers with LeBron James. He had 2 giants in front of him. That's why he pretty much had a paradox and joined the Warriors, so he didn't have to beat them, but he was on the team, and they would overthrow LeBron and the Cavs easily. So that was Kevin Durant's position, let alone he was in the league for around 7 seasons. For Giannis, again, he's been a star for 3 seasons or so. So he's still young. He still has a lot more experience in the playoffs to discover himself. That gives him another reason to stay with Milwaukee. He can make more moves upon it. And whenever Giannis is 30, I still expect him to stay with Milwaukee forever. Pretty much him signing right now made it known that he's going to stay with Milwaukee forever, because if he's around 30, 31, if he leaves, that's just kind of a slap in the face to the franchise.
Really disappointed. And I can always tell when you're going with an argument, your enunciation becomes more exact because the facts that you're trying to deliver to me are not whole. And that's the case here, because we look at KD, we look at Kyrie, we look at all the carpet-bagging, ring-chasing superstars who went someplace else and got it done.
Who is USAA made for? It's made for him, a veteran who honorably served. And it's made for her. She's serving now. We also made USAA for military spouses and their kids. Become a member. Get an insurance quote today.
And
If I'm Milwaukee, I do whatever it takes to make a trade and get James Harden. I do whatever it takes. If you can get James Harden with Giannis, even though they've had their quote-unquote beef, that is out the door, that is out the window. Harden is in demand for a championship, a ring in his career. Same thing with Giannis now since he's staying. They both need each other, if that can be the case. There's no other true star out there that's going to play with Giannis, and Giannis plays with another player. Again, LeBron's situated. Anthony Davis is situated. Kevin Durant's situated. Same thing with Kyrie Irving. Kawhi Leonard's situated with the Clippers. Same thing with Paul George. Damian Lillard's situated. Luka Doncic. You can go on and go on. But now if you keep going forward and you're trying to find that, the next best player, James Harden is a top five or top 6 player in the league. He's trying to find a new home. If you're the Milwaukee Bucks management, you do whatever it takes to get James Harden with Giannis Antetokounmpo. Because if that's the case, if you can get Harden in this season with Giannis, they will make the finals. They will. I'm not saying they're going to win the championship, because you do have a LeBron, Anthony Davis, and the stacked Lakers. That'll be a competitive series. But best chance for Giannis to win a championship now, you got to get James Harden. If you don't get James Harden, you're going to be stuck with Chris Middleton and Drew Holiday. And I'm very curious to see if the Bucks in 2 to 3 seasons from now, who they'll try to flip those players for Giannis Antetokounmpo. I'm very curious.
they're still not satisfied. They're still searching for that missing element. Giannis wins he doesn't even have to win a ring in Milwaukee. But if he did, he would only need one, and he would be a legend forever.
Bingo. If he would have joined the Mavericks and the Heat, he still would have been an all-time player, but Giannis's DNA does not correspond to what these AAU-type players usually do. One ring, and I expect Giannis to finish it with his career. If he stays with Milwaukee the whole tenure, I expect Giannis to pretty much win one championship ring with the Milwaukee Bucks. And it will happen, probably in the next 4 to 6 years from now. It's not going to happen soon. It won't.
The reality is he has everything that he wants and needs. So what is it that he's seeking that he's going to find someplace else? It's your definition that he needs a title to be complete. Giannis is certainly striving for that, but he doesn't see that as the be-all and the end-all in terms of who he is.
Slick, the issue with non-satisfaction is not necessarily dependent or contingent upon winning a chip with a group
There we
of
go with the enunciation. Okay.
I enunciate because sometimes y'all's ears don't hear what I'm saying.
You talking it different, but we hearing the same.
The issue with satisfaction when you're talking about KD, Kyrie, LeBron, all these other people, is simple. Greats are never satisfied. Probably my favorite NBA player ever, because I was born in Dallas, Dirk Nowitzki. How many years did Dirk play? Dirk played about 19, 20 years. Dirk won his chip in 2011. He won it without a dream team, probably the last player outside until Kawhi who won it without a dream team. Dirk kept playing for 9 more years. You could argue, well, Dirk wasn't satisfied. That just completely undermines your argument. Great players will not be satisfied, period. So even if Giannis does somehow miraculously win this chip in Milwaukee, I still don't think it's going to lead to satisfaction. There will be regrets.
There would not be regrets. Him winning one championship with that franchise for around 15 years or so, not saying they'll put a statue. They probably will, because Giannis pretty much will finish his career with 3 regular season MVPs, 1 championship, 1 finals MVP, and you'll be a top 15, top 20 player in NBA history. So he's fine where he's at. He understands the process. He understands he can win more rings joining another franchise. He's aware of this. He's seen it. He's not stupid. But he'll take the Damian Lillard and the Dirk Nowitzki effect and stay with one franchise, give it his all, and put everything on him. He wants the pressure. He wants to be that number 1 guy. He wants to recruit. He wants his own territory. So let him do what he has to do at the end of the day.
Woo! This was my favorite segment ever on this show.
Because y'all had to do no work.
And I haven't said a damn word, and somebody called out my co-host without even seeing him every day, every block. Thank you, Slick Rick the Bucher. You nailed it on Acho. Acho tried to take us to social science class, talk about Nigerian and Greece relationships and what the hell. Like, what NATO meeting summit I walked into? The hell are you talking about? Slick Rick nailed it. And I love this about Giannis, is that he has his own Christmas wish list, and he don't give a damn what you wrote on your list. We can have the same goals, everyone out there, but how we attain them can be different. And Giannis, I'm sure, wants to win a championship, but he's not willing to win a championship at the sacrifice of loyalty, happiness, having ownership's ear, the security he has, et cetera, et cetera. I love this. And he's being real about how you have to assess the world, the landscape of basketball. Since Kobe, rest in peace, Kobe, if your name is not LeBron and he ain't on your team, Steph Curry ain't on your team, or Kawhi is not on your team, you ain't winning a championship in today's NBA. That's just the way it's been. And Giannis so why compromise everything else that you believe in for the sake of just that championship? A lot of that is appeasement of others. A lot of this championship talk is to keep the naysayers and the haters off my back and off my legacy. And Giannis is like, look, where were those people when I was in those Greek plazas selling those watches and everything I was selling? Where were those people at then? Give a damn about me. So why the hell should I give a damn about them right now? I respect people that have the character, the integrity, and the game that Giannis has.
All right, we're ending it off there. Overall thoughts about this is shocked me that Giannis signed this early for the max extension. Again, I thought he pretty much would have stayed with Milwaukee if first I wanted him to attend free agency, check out the different teams, the rosters, and then I thought he would have made that decision. most of these players like LeBron, Dwight Howard, Kevin Durant, Kawhi Leonard, whenever they were in their prime and the star show, they would attend free agency. They would have the season to where people in the media would say, okay, he's going to be a free agent. Is he going to leave? The media is all over them. You know, they usually boost their ego. They're like a superstar. They're on the spotlight, they're like in Hollywood for a year. And then they join free agency. They check out the first 2 weeks, these different franchises. They throw all these best offers and, you know, everything at them, the fans, everything. Make them feel well, like they're on tour. And then that star player usually makes their decision to leave or stay. I thought Giannis Antetokounmpo would actually, do that same process, but it looks like he's already locked in for the Giannis and the new Giannis Milwaukee Bucks future. So kudos to him. He's in a good spot anyways. Again, he's only been 3 years as a true superstar. The other years, it was either a role player, let alone potential in that space. So we got Drew Holiday on the team, a new franchise. Direction is kind of somewhat going in place. Let's see if they can actually break through that barrier and that hump, and if they can make the NBA Finals. And Giannis is taking baby steps. He's trying to work on his game, continue. Again, he just turned 26 years of age. He's recently now a superstar, so this is somewhat new to him. He's getting used to the whole process, the whole grind, and everything along here. So I expect Giannis to finish his career with 1 championship, really jumping the gun, but that's just how I see it ever since he pretty much committed 5 more years to the Milwaukee Bucks. So he's going to be on the Dirk Nowitzki, Damian Lillard stage of his career, and he's pretty much going to finish off with around 15 to 20 years in the league. Let me know what you guys think. I'm going to cover more videos as we're going to see if the Milwaukee Bucks could somehow get James Harden a trade, let alone how Drew Holiday performs for them. Peace.